Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or if they did deals, you could get 3 for
I used to watch
$10
Verbal.
or
I used to watch
something,
Mr. Verbal just crush.
Dude, Verbal
Crush.
was my buddy. Xavier is my buddy, and Jay Cook.
Right.
Bro, I used to watch him.
They sold more
Kill
albums.
shit.
Dude,
I kind of joke around when I say this, and no cap on anyone, but Verbal's really like the only one to probably go platinum in these streets.
Yeah, he's been platinum in these streets, bro.
That's because that fool put in 20 years of everyday slanging CDs, you know what I mean?
Dude, Verbal would come down to the shop, and I would run deals, 3 mixtapes, whatever, for $10. And he would give me, I'd give him a little bit of a cut, a deal on that. And he would give me, say, $30 and grab 9 tapes or 10 tapes from me, 11, 12, whatever.
Right.
Some JoeThunder, some of our shit, some Cadava shit, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, Pincho Sack, motherfucking
Right. All
Dank,
all the
fucking Mainline. I mean, there was a lot of people down there. And he would come back and give me the money and then get more and go sell them again. And I had to shell out some of that money and some of that, it got eaten up because that store wasn't making any cash. But I mean, the fact that he went out there, Verbal would always sell his records also, but he didn't have a problem.
Anything that was on, he was on.
He would sell anything, yeah. And he didn't give a shit, man. He was a good dude.
Nah, he was the shit too. Like every time I see him, just always like, yo, just like happy to see you type shit,
Bro, he was from Brooklyn and he was older than all of us.
Hustle.
Yeah, and he had the best accent. He was one of the funniest guys you'd ever meet, dude.
Yeah.
And he was loyal.
Yeah.
I got mad love for him, man.
I was gonna say those hot dogs on his neck.
Dude, he told me he told me one day, he goes, Stat, I got to start eating healthier and I got to start eating vegetables. And he walked in with this piece of pizza that had like jalapenos and shit. I'm eating vegetables. I was like, all right, Verbal.
That's remember when Verbal got a girlfriend for a little bit?
I know her name. She was awesome. She's a beautiful, nice, sweet person. I love her very much.
She was his biggest fan at the show.
She was awesome.
Funny.
Yeah.
Verbal's.
Well, Verbal was very likable, but she moved on.
Right. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, dude.
Hey, real quick though, we kind of missed. Tell these people who you are and where you're from, and kind of how you kind of got started in hip hop.
So my name is Status, Cadava Cult, Cadava Records. Originally and still Bags of Dagger. If you're really old school North Side, we were BOD. My real name's Zach. I got started making hip hop in North Denver at North High School. Put a first album out there, and I don't know if it was '99. We were actually selling it. Yeah. I graduated North in 2000, so I sold the album I think at North my senior year, '99, 2000. That was that Agafozi Gob album had the original lineup of the Cadava, and then. I started playing shows, got to get, knowing people and, just went on from there. And, I'm a big advocate of local, supporting local artists, local business, local music, all that shit. My mom's side of the family, we're Dago from North Denver, so, I always be talking that Italian shit. But I'm not 100% Italian, but I am half, so.
Yeah.
Hey, what was the first element of hip hop?
You look more Italian than anything.
My dad was pretty dark though. For an Irish guy, my dad was pretty dark. But
you definitely look Italian.
Yeah. But yeah.
You're able to talk that shit.
I talk that shit.
Pull it off. Yeah,
I can talk shit, all day. I'm sorry, Joe.
What was your the first element of hip hop you gravitated towards? Was it rapping or was it?
So to be honest, my older brother was born in Camden, New Jersey, right? And my older sister also. And my brother moved to Denver. He was into metal, and he played drums. And I wanted to, be like him, Right. So I got a bass guitar when I was a kid, teenager, and I was trying to play bass. And my mom got me bass lessons, and the bass teacher told me I needed to get a metronome. And I went to, so this bass guitar is like $90 bass guitar. It was like a piece of shit. It was a Samick. I don't know if you know Samick, they're beautiful. But then I went to the Guitar Center or whatever it was back in the day, and the metronomes were very expensive. Like a real metronome, they're like $180 or something. And the guy there said, I could sell you this drum machine for like $99. It was like an Alesis SR16 drum machine.
Kind of does the same thing. Right?
Yeah, and I was like, okay. And he goes, yeah, it has every time ever you want. And so I took that home, and then all of a sudden I'm making drum beats, and I was like, fuck being in a band, dude. Like, this is way cooler. And I grew up as much around metal and punk rock and all that as I did around hip hop. I mean, you know, in North High School, you know, there was a handful of kids that listened to metal, but most of the school,
all hip hop heads.
you know, at least the kids that spoke
Rap.
English,
Right,
you know,
right,
I mean,
right,
that school
right.
was, you know, predominantly Mexican, but a lot of the kids that were, you know, that I hung out with, it was Wu-Tang and 3-6 Mafia, you know, and everything in between,
Right,
you know,
right,
and
right.
so I started kind of writing songs on the bass over drum beats that pretty much, I was like, dude, this sounds way more like Cypress Hill than any kind of punk rock track or whatever I thought I was doing. And then, you know, the homeboys that I was around, you know, they were more already kind of rhyming and shit. And so I would be making beats and kind of hang out with them. And I was writing songs, but really, if you writing a punk rock track and you scream it, it's a punk rock track. If you rap it, it's a rap track, at least the way I was writing. And it just ended up being way more on the side of hip hop and a lot more fun, you know, because being in a band was a bitch, you know, like, you know, finding somebody with a
practice your
drum set's a
instrument.
lot of work. You know,
Right.
who's going to listen to that and who has the money for it? And, you know, but getting, you know, 6 guys around rapping over drum beats was fucking easy, you know, and fun. And you could do it in a park, you could do it in a car, you could do it, you know,
And anybody could jump into, even if they were
Yeah.
garbage, like anybody could be a part of it, and it was
and,
fun.
you know, I lived with my grandparents growing up in North Denver, and my mom. It's not like my mom dropped us off there and left or something, but you know, my family all lived in my grandparents' house, and I couldn't be that loud in that house. You know,
Right.
my grandpa wasn't about to listen to me fucking playing a, you know, an amp or a drum set or something. You know, so being able to wear headphones was a big deal. You need to be, you know, in your own world, like creating this whole thing, you know, and you think you're just as dope as the Lost Boys at the time, and you know,
Right.
you know, I still have some of those tapes, and I'm
Hell
very
yeah, that's one of my
disappointed in
favorites.
myself. You know, that's what it is. You
Yeah.
know, so, you know.
I could dig that.
But yeah, man, that's a long,
So it was
long
like
answer.
it was like producing for you then.
Yeah, I'm producing first, totally. And every album I ever did, I think I did every beat on every album, and most of those, especially the first half of our whole run, you know, that 15-year run with Cadava, I did all the beats and all that shit too. Yeah, I love making beats, dude. I love it. I love rhyming. I love performing, but I think beats is,
That's the one.
it's where it starts for me. You know what I mean? I don't sit around and go, oh, that's a dope rhyme. I fucking make beats and then I play them and write. You know what I mean? So, you know.
Who would you say some of your influences, like MCs and like producers?
Growing up, Guru,
For sure.
Premier, you know, collectively or separately. All the Soul Assassins, especially the early stuff, you know, Cypress, House of Pain, Funk Dubious, DJ
Dubious.
Muggs, big to me. House of Pain was big to me because I was probably in 6th grade when I heard House of Pain, and I remember seeing the video and going, oh shit, these dudes are like, they're rhyming about drinking fucking Mickeys and wearing Dickies and, you know, being Irish, and, you know, I have some Irish
Right.
lineage, and and they weren't shitty. Because, like, you knew the Beastie Boys were cool, but, you know, there's no chance of being a Beastie Boy. When you saw House of Pain, you were like, and they were hanging out with Cypress Hill, and I'm like, okay, so the homies at North are Cypress Hill, and I'm House of Pain, you know, like, right off the bat, you're like, oh, fuck, this could work, you know. And then I think MOP was a
Right.
really big one for me.
Yes. Cold as ice.
Yeah, MOP, we were talking about Jackin earlier, is,
Yeah,
you know,
sick.
Psycho Realm, all Psycho Realm, from the early to the later stuff. Then, you know, really trying to think of somebody that's not so cliche.
Well,
Shit,
those
man.
aren't necessarily. I've heard a lot more cliche.
Well, and I mean, you know, I like all. I
From
mean,
what your
like we
style.
all know, Nas is one of the baddest. We
Right.
know, you know, Tupac's
Right,
one of the
right.
baddest. I had a lot of influence from 3-6 Mafia too.
Nice.
In the North Side, you know, they had that
Northsiders.
song North
Right,
North.
right.
Yeah, it was Northside.
So, you know, we listened to a lot of 3-6 and Project Pat, you know,
For sure.
Looney Corleone, and, you know, there was a lot of stuff floating
Mr.
around
Pookie.
back then, you know.
Mr. Pookie.
I love it, man.
Who
you
was
know?
the dude that used to rap here in Denver that always album covers were always like Mr. Pookie? He'd dress up in suits.
I don't narrow it down.
He looked just like him. He was like, bro, he was always out there too, like Mr. Verbal type shit.
Oh, for real?
He wore like zoot suits almost, and like
He's Mexican too?
nah, black dude,
Was it,
skinny, kind of lanky dude. Looked like Mr. Pookie, and he'd just be out there in the streets.
I'm thinking,
fucking-
what's the homeboy that looked like Tupac? Little Therapy.
Yeah.
That's who it is.
Yeah,
Little
that sounds
Therapy.
good.
Yeah,
That's
Little
who it
Therapy.
is.
Yeah.
Little Therapy.
He hit me up on Instagram or something not that long ago.
Really?
Yeah.
What's his
Just,
Instagram? I need
just
to-
said, what's up, man? And, you know,
That's
said,
crazy.
you know, because he was a very cool guy.
Nah, he was cool, man.
Yeah,
I
he was
liked him
cool
a lot.
guy. Yeah, he would come down to the shop, you know.
I like that dude.
Yeah, I also listen to a lot of punk and metal and shit back in the day. You know, like a lot of that. You know, like Ramones is probably my favorite band.
Yeah.
You know, I love Pantera. You know, all their bullshit
Les
aside, it's one of my
Claypool.
biggest ones. I love Primus because I played bass. I love Primus.
You gotta love it.
Yeah, you know, Scarface. I think.